is speaking loudly. The visuals that we are playing out on our screens. Also, one thing is very important that, there are, especially the Aam Aadmi Party, they are trying to become the factor in Gujarat's politics. In fact, they are also contesting all the seats in Gujarat. They are also extensively campaigning. They are doing their road shows. They are doing everything. But what has really gone wrong for the Congress party and has gone in favor of the Bharatiya Janata Party is the two personal state remarks that have been made by Mallikarjuna Kharge on the Prime Minister. And you see that how BJP is milking it because people of Gujarat, any attack which is made on the Prime Minister, they take it personally. And today, exactly that has happened when Prime Minister, while addressing a public meeting, did speak on the remark which was made on him by Mallikarjuna Kharge. So a son of soil speaking directly to the people of Gujarat. And that connect, one can feel that if you're present in Prime Minister's rallies or for that matter in his roadshows, you can feel that emotional connect that people have with him. This morning I was at a polling booth in Surat and was speaking to people, and I did speak to more than 15, 16, 17 people at a length, and they all were saying there are no issues, absolutely no issues at all. What issues? Everything is sorted. But they don't have any complaints regarding anyone. So that level of confidence they have on BJP and Narendra Modi. And trust me, the target is that BJP is going to cross 130, but people are saying that is difficult to achieve. That number is difficult to achieve. But looking at the crowd here, and yesterday even I was in fact there at Amit Shah's roadshow also, Minister Amit Shah's roadshow, looking at the crowd, even if they achieve this number, then we should not be surprised.
Absolutely. It is going to be historic, believes the BJP, as far as the Gujarat victory is concerned. A historic moment currently that we are witnessing in Gujarat, a 30-kilometer roadshow that is being undertaken by the Prime Minister there over 3 hours. We'll keep a track of that and much more here on CNN News 18. But with that, it's a wrap from me. Viewpoint with Zaka Jacob coming up next.
Good evening. The Delhi police have moved the High Court, appealing against the discharge of Congress leader Shashi Tharoor and the death of his late wife, Sunanda Pushkar. The court had over a year ago discharged him, saying that there is no evidence that he was actively involved in any kind of conspiracy to kill his wife. The Congress party has hit back, saying that this is nothing but a witch hunt. What is the basis for the case against Shashi Tharoor? I'll be speaking to the man who started this all, Dr. Subramaniam Swamy. But before that, the story of the day so far. First, go across to the man who started this all, basis whose complaint this whole case was registered against Shashi Tharoor. Dr. Subramaniam Swamy, former Member of Parliament of the BJP, is now joining us. Dr. Swamy, thank you very much for speaking with us. First things first, like I said, it started with your moving the Delhi police and asking them for a probe into Shashi Tharoor's late wife's death. It took 7 years for the discharge case against Tharoor to happen in the first place, and earlier last year, the Delhi court had discharged him, saying that there is want of evidence. Now, 15 months later, the Delhi police have approached the court again. Many are saying they've dug up this case again. What is exactly the end game here? Because what new has the police found in terms of the last 15 months to warrant going back to the court asking for an appeal against the discharge?
Well, the Delhi police has gone in appeal against the order in the lower court, and but the question is right. You have asked a correct question. Why did they say it takes so long to wake up to after having gone to the upper court and filed an appeal against the lower court's orders? Why did you take so long to go back and start the proceedings?
Now, back when the lower court had discharged Mr. Tharoor from the trial of the death of his late wife, the court had cited, and I quote, an absence of specific allegations and sufficient material to warrant that he was in any kind of conspiracy to eliminate his wife. So my question is, what has changed between then and now, between the discharge that happened a year and a half ago and the need to go back to the High Court now and ask for an appeal against that discharge?
Well, I don't. Then it must mean that Delhi police didn't present what should have been presented. One was the autopsy report of the All India Medical Institute, which showed lots of marks on her body, an injection hole in her arm, which showed that perhaps she was also given a poison needle, and she had put up a fight. It was also very clear. What was the reason? Why was she in a hotel, 5-7-star hotel? How could this happen in what appears to be 11 o'clock in the morning?
But Dr. Swami, tell me this. You talked about the AIIMS autopsy board, or even the statement that was given by Sunanda Pushkar's son. In none of this, was there any kind of material evidence that her death be treated as some kind of a homicide? So again, I keep going back to this. If neither the autopsy is saying this, nor her closest family members are alleging homicide, then on what basis is the Delhi police trying to revisit this case, or at least appealing to revisit this case?
All India Medical Institute, they gave no such report. I've read that report. I know the forensic department's head, and I've spoken to him also. They all said it was clearly a case of murder. And in fact, the FIR was registered only after the All India Medical Institute gave this kind of a thing. This is false. Yes, his son, her son rather,
yeah.
He ditched her mother. That's a different matter. That can be investigated separately. Why he did that when he was not even in the scene? How could he say that it is not murder sitting in Dubai? So I think there was a lot of attempts to save Shashi Tharoor. I hope now the justice will be dealt for Sunanda Pushkar.
Okay. Dr. Swami, we'll leave it at that. Thank you very much for joining us. We'll see how the courts take up this matter and whether they find grounds for the appeal that's been moved by the Delhi police. Let me now go across to P.K. Jain, former IPS officer, who is joining us. Ashpreet Kadial is Congress Party spokesperson. Kapil Sankla, lawyer at the Supreme Court, and Sumansi Raman, political analyst, joining us as well. P.K. Jain, let me start with you first. Is it normal that in such a high-profile case, the death of the wife of a former minister, a three-time parliamentarian, such a high-profile case that was in the media limelight for a many number of years, is it the normal course of time, 15 months, or has there been an inordinate delay in the Delhi police approaching the courts for an appeal in this case?
Well, this is an inordinate delay. There's no justification for this kind of a delay. They should have gone to the court in appeal much earlier in point of time. The delays like this do cause a tremendous amount of damage to the case and the veracity of the case. So there is delay, but all said and done, delay apart, that cannot nullify or neutralize the very fact that there was some prima facie evidence in the case, and the case was charged. There was no reason for Mr. Tharoor to be discharged in this case. And the case should have gone on. The case should have seen the light of the day. It should have been taken to its logical end. And now I'm sure that the High Court will certainly look into all these points, the issues raised by the Delhi Police investigating officer.
Okay.
And I'm sure that the discharge application would be set aside.
So, Kapil Sankla, you heard from a former IPS officer, yes, the delay has been inordinate and that generally is detrimental to the appeal itself. But aside of the delay, the question that's being asked by Congress party and people close to Shashi Tharoor is, why this witch hunt? You go back to what the court said, that there was no material evidence to charge him for any kind of conspiracy or abetment to homicide that happened to his wife allegedly. There was nothing, materially against Shashi Tharoor. So the charge that's being leveled is that the Delhi police is doing this for political purposes and there are political motivations behind this appeal coming as it does 15 months after the discharge.
Well, the converse can equally be true, isn't it? That the Delhi police delayed the matter till kingdom come for reasons best known and thereafter filed a belated application before the High Court. That also could be true. So there are two versions before you. And as far as, delay being usually detrimental, no, that's not really correct. Delay is detrimental. A condonation or delay application has to be filed and cogent reasons have to be given. The Honorable High Court and Supreme Court, in a number of cases, especially in criminal matters, have stated time and again that liberal interpretation has to be given because the purpose of criminal investigation and criminal trial is justice. And just because of, just kind of these dilatory tactics, etc., benefit should not be given to the accused. So, as far as the first part is concerned about delay, it is neither here nor there. Yes, the prosecution or the police does have to justify the delay, and I think the condonation or delay application is there, notice has been issued on that. Now, as far as whether it's a politically motivated application or not, as I said, the converse is equally true. And the question is this, that how come the investigation at this stage not bring anything at all to show a prima facie case? Because the 306 case, abetment to suicide, has a very large bandwidth. That I am the lawyer for Mr. Kanda in the Gitika case as well. And the difficulty that we're facing there is that our client hadn't had a word with the deceased, unfortunately, for last 6 months. And despite that, when she committed suicide, she named him in the suicide note. And there are evidences to show that he hadn't even had a word with her for 6 months or 10 months or something like that. So, as I said, the leeway in 306 is very wide. All that you have to show is that you did some act at some stage that probably pushed the person to commit suicide.
No,
Here
so
Ashpreet
Kadyal, delay aside, and whatever reasons the Delhi police had for that delay, they'll have to explain to court as to why they took 15 months. But delay aside, is there any other material reason for why you doubt the Delhi police's integrity or the Delhi police's intentions in this matter? Because at the end of the day, this is another routine case. It has to go through the layers of appeal for the case to be finally closed. They believe there is material case against Mr. Tharoor. You may have a different point of view, but a right of appeal is a right given under law.
Thank you. Kindly allow me an uninterrupted minute. First of all, this is not an appeal. It's a revision. Number two, when we have courts to do justice, why are certain people, especially of the Bharatiya Janata Party, becoming judge, jury and executioner? Number three, the courts have already discharged Dr. Shashi Tharoor. Therefore, even what the Honorable High Court is considering as of now is the condonation of delay, if delay has to be condoned or not, which is inordinate. It cannot be explained. There is no justification to that. 15 months is a lot of time. Number three, the matter is sub judice. I happen to be a lawyer myself. There are other lawyers on the panel. So if a matter is sub judice, are we even supposed to discuss it, debate upon it? The court had taken strong exception to trial by media and therefore had asserted that no copies are to be given to anyone but the parties concerned with the case. Nevertheless, we are having a trial by media. Number five, it's been found by the court already.
One second. Ashpreet, one second. Nowhere has any court, as far as Mr. Tharoor's matter is concerned, in the last 15 months since he got discharged, nowhere has any court said that the media should not discuss this matter. There is no injunction or stay order of any kind saying that the media should not discuss this matter. And secondly, if you have noticed the tone and tenor of this discussion, we are again asking the Delhi police, why the inordinate delay? Are you saying that we can't discuss things in this country? I mean, this is after all a high-profile case. Mr. Tharoor is an extremely media-savvy figure. So was his late wife. It was there all over the news for the last, when it happened in 2014. And even when the court discharged him the year before last, we covered that as well. We covered that pretty extensively. So,
Three,
pending
two
any
things, two
court
things.
injunction, I don't see any merit in this media trial argument.
Two things to that. First, there does not have to be an injunction. There does not have to be an order. When the matter is sub judice, the matter is being decided by the court. Nobody but the court is supposed to have opinions on it, is supposed to discuss it, is
Sir,
supposed to
what
hear
are
it.
you
And
saying?
nevertheless, we
As
are
a
doing it.
lawyer,
Number
I'm
two,
amazed
number
you've
two,
taken this
number
argument,
two.
Ashpreet.
Now,
Ram Janmabhoomi matter went on for 30 years.
If you would allow me the
30
time.
years. Are you telling me media was
You
not
would allow me
discussing
the
it for
time.
30 years?
Now, would you allow me the time?
Aftab case has happened for the last 3 weeks.
What the court says.
Pending an injunction or a stay by any court, we're all discussing that story.
So now, are you saying that when a matter is
tenure,
subject,
it
we are
is
supposed to discuss it?
discussion.
No, there is no bar on
Nobody is
any
accusing
discussion.
anybody.
So when-
Please,
when-
there is
when
no
the
bar
matter
on
is
any
sub judice,
discussion.
we are not
As a
supposed to
lawyer,
talk
I'm
about it.
amazed. Again, I'm sorry.
I am amazed that
No, I'm amazed that you don't know this basic point of law that unless there is an express injunction or stay, when there is unless there is an express injunction or stay, there is no bar on the media from discussing any matter that is sub judice. Please.
When the matter is sub judice, nobody is supposed
Sir,
to
what are you
discuss about
saying?
it but the
2G
court.
case
Nevertheless,
went in
you
the
want to
courts
do
for a
it.
number of
Number
years.
two.
Are you saying the media did not discuss it? What are you saying?
Now allow me the time to
No,
answer.
Ashpreet,
One,
either
it
you
does
make
not have to
cogent
be an
points. No,
injunction.
one second,
When
Ashpreet.
the
Either
matter
you
is
make
sub judice
cogent
already.
legal
Number
arguments.
two, the
Or
copies-
you
now,
face the facts
Delhi High
when other
Court-
panelists
the
and other
Delhi High Court-
members who are on this
the
panel
Delhi High Court,
who confront
the
you with the
Sessions
facts.
Court
No, I'm
and
sorry.
the Metropolitan-
Either you make
Now, hear me
cogent
out.
arguments
The Delhi High
or
Court-
you
Let me
please
just
face
say-
up to the
let me just say
facts.
this, yes.
You said
And I
that
said
media
that
should
copies
not
are not
discuss
to be
any
given.
case that is
And I
sub judice.
said that
I gave you an
copies are
example
not
of
to
Ram
be given.
Janmabhoomi matter
The court
went
has
on for
taken a
30
strong
years.
exception to
Gyan
it.
Vapi matter
The
has been
court
going
has
on for the
taken a
last 3
strong
months.
exception to
Aftab
it.
Shraddha
And I
case has been in the
said
courts for the
that
last
copies
3
are
weeks.
only to be
Media
given to
has
the
been
party.
discussing it.
Even
The
now,
only
this is
instance
asserted
where
by the
media
lawyer.
is not
Even
allowed
now
to
it has been
discuss a
asserted by
particular
the
case
lawyer
if
that
there
it
is an
supposed to
express injunction
not- it is
or
not
stay
supposed to
by
be
a court of
discussed by
law.
the media.
In
There
this
shouldn't be a
case,
trial
there is
by
no
media.
injunction or stay. And the
And
moment there is an
therefore,
injunction or
according to
stay,
the rules of the
we will stop
High
discussing
Court
it.
itself, it has been
Come on, as a
associated by
lawyer,
the High
I'm
Court that the
appalled
copies are
that you
only
don't
to be
even
given
know
to the
this
parties.
basic fact.
It is unfortunate that
No,
you're making
as a
mockery of
lawyer,
justice.
Ashpreet,
It is
I'm really
unfortunate that
sad.
you
It
don't
saddens
understand the
me
basic
that you don't
principles.
know this
It
basic
is
fact.
unfortunate
That
that
unless there is an
today,
express
both
stay
the-
or
now it is
injunction,
unfortunate that
media
both the
is
media
free
wants
to
have
discuss
trial by
any
media
court
nowadays.
case, any matter that is sub
Both the
judice.
media wants to have trial by
Sir,
media.
please
Now, both
don't
the media wants to have trial
go
by
into
media.
innuendo.
Number
You
two,
put out a blatantly untrue
you're not
statement
supposed to
on the
debate it.
panel.
When a
You were
matter is
confronted
sub
by
judice,
other
you're not supposed to
panelists
debate
and
it.
the anchor
If you do not
blowing
understand,
holes in that
I can
theory.
only
Now
be
you
sorry for
don't go
you,
calling
Taka.
names, yaar.
I
Come
can
on,
only be
Ashpreet,
sorry for
please.
you.
Don't
Number
call
two,
names. Come on,
it is
please.
unfortunate.
I'm
It is
not
unfortunate
going to
that you don't
descend
understand
to
what
that
the
level
definition of
of
sub judice
calling
is.
people names
Number
just
four,
because your
now-
argument got
now
blown
the
out of the
honorable
water.
court- now-
Let me
now
go
hear
to
me
the
out.
next guest, please.
Now
Let me go to
please read
Sumant
what
Raman.
sub judice
Sumant
is.
Raman,
Please
I want
read
to
what
ask a
sub
very, very
judice means.
simple question. Yes, there is an inordinate delay, and as the lawyers on the panel have explained, the Delhi police has to explain in court why there was an inordinate delay. Beyond that, is there any material argument to argue against the Delhi police going in appeal or asking for a revision of the discharge of Mr. Shashi Tharoor?
No, I think, Zaka, even in the original trial, there was very clearly a case of lack of any specific evidence to say that Shashi Tharoor contributed to the abetment to suicide or whatever the charges he was accused of, or caused cruelty to his wife. Now, that is the fundamental issue. So unless the Delhi police have suddenly unearthed some new evidence which they did not tell the trial court earlier, it makes zero sense except as a political vendetta option to sort of reopen this case and appeal. Now, the Delhi police says, look, we've now got evidence, of abetment to suicide, which we did not have at the stage of the trial court. That makes sense. But to argue the same case, which has quite clearly been, dealt with, and Mr. Tharoor has been completely discharged, I think that that obviously.
No, we don't know that yet. Sumant, we don't know that yet. They have to make that case. They have to make that case in the High Court. No, one second. They have to make that case in the High Court. Ashpreet, is your name Sumant Raman? Ashpreet, is your name Sumant Raman? Have some patience. Please hold your horses. Let me go to Sumant Raman. Please, he's a little more elderly and wise than you, so please give him that courtesy. Please extend the courtesy to Sumant Raman. One second, Sumant, I'm asking a simple question. It is incumbent on the Delhi police to prove in court as to why this matter should be taken a fresh look at. They have to prove, the onus is on the investigating agency to prove to the court that there is material evidence to reopen this case. They have to make that case. They've not made that case yet.
Yes. No, the point really is, Zaka, that look at the logic of the whole thing. This is a matter that happened in the death of Sunanda Pushkar happened in 2014. We are now 8 years later in 2022.
Correct.
The trial has gone on for a substantial period and a judgment has been arrived at. Now, 1.5 years or 15 months, the police does nothing. Now, what could be potentially the reason for the delay is something we need to speculate. But more importantly, look at it from a perspective of potentially any court looking at this matter when it's when somebody goes on appeal 15 months later, obvious or revision 15 months later. At the end of the day, unless there is clinching evidence, there is no way that this is going to work.
Okay.
And sadly, to me, it seems like more an attempt to keep the sword of Damocles hanging on Shashi Tharoor.
Okay, so the Damocles sword is being
no,
hung
not only
on
that, not only
Shashi
Zaka, not only Zaka, we can do debates, and there will be people who say, did Shashi Tharoor murder his wife? And you know, all this kind of thing which allows you to defame and slander Shashi Tharoor for another couple of years.
No, one second. Again, I go back to 2 points. One second. 2 points. One, if any court of law, including the Delhi High Court who's been moved today, if they say media, there is an injunction or a stay from discussing this case, the next day, the very next moment, all media will stop discussing this case. Number one. Number two, talking about the defaming of Mr. Tharoor, I don't think that's accurate at all, because even after this case, no, one second, even after this case, Suman, have the patience to listen, Napa. Even after this case came to light, even after quote-unquote so-called media trial, he won 2 more elections from the constituency of Thiruvananthapuram. He won in 2014, he won in 2019.
No, that is not the point.
So where is the question of defaming?
No.
Where is the question of defaming?
Of course, there is a question of defaming.
How is Dr. Tharoor being defamed if after this case came, after this so-called media trial, he has still won elections?
Maybe the defaming prevented him from becoming the president of the Congress party. I'm throwing
no. Come on. No. I think that is a different ball game altogether. Look, you and I both know there were different forces at play there. But nothing to do with the case or nothing to do with so-called media trial. There were different political factors there at play. Let's not get into that.
One second.
Okay, quickly. I got to wrap up. Yeah.
If you're saying defamation is to be measured only in terms of political consequences in one constituency, I'm sorry, I disagree. He has been defamed across the country, across the world, because he is a literary figure known far beyond the borders of India.
I have a very simple. There is a law, there is a provision of law which deals with criminal defamation. There are a number of cases that have gone into that matter. Anyway, this case is not about defamation. Let me go back to Kapil Sankla, and please answer the question that both Ashpreet was asking as well as, of course, Mr. Sumant Raman was asking. There are no witnesses to this crime, alleged crime. There is no one in the family of Sunanda or their friends or anyone who is saying that Shashi Tharoor was the reason she committed quote-unquote suicide, if at all it is a case of suicide and abetment to suicide. And number 3, most importantly, the time since this incident happened, 2014, today is 2022. What material evidence may come in the hands of the Delhi police now, 8 years after this quote-unquote said incident happened, that may change the nature of the discharge or the nature of the conclusion that the lower court came to vis-a-vis Mr. Tharoor?
Please allow me to answer this as a lawyer, which I am. You see, as far as the matter is concerned in the High Court, it's a revision petition, and revision argued purely on law. It is not really argued on facts. unless and until some new facts and cogent facts are brought in. My understanding is that there were ample evidences that were filed with the charge sheet by the police. However, the trial court did not appreciate the nature of the evidence, saying that these are circumstantial in nature and probably the links are not too well connected, giving the benefit to Dr. Tharoor. I understand that. I appreciate that. You would see the exception here. There are two exceptions. One, the trial actually did not commence. For 7.5 years, the matter was lingering on only on the argument on charge, which is an exception to the general rule. And after 7.5 years, Dr. Tharoor was discharged, which is again an exception.
Yeah.
Of the lakhs and lakhs cases, only I think a couple of them get discharged without trial, without evidences being led. And in cases which are circumstantial in nature, you might not have clinching evidence, but you might have witnesses which are like the links to a chain that leads to guilt of an accused. So usually what happens is that a chance is given to the prosecution to bring their case before the court. Probably this was a very big case. Probably the court was cogent of the fact that Dr. Tharoor is a person of national fame. Probably decided that 7.5 years is too much time. That's all right. But you have to bring this before the court in the High Court for it to appreciate in revision. And the second exception is that
I'm completely out of time. Sorry about it. I have to go to live shots that are coming in now. Thank you very much to all our guests. All right, let's go to the live shots that are coming in from Ahmedabad. Remember, the Prime Minister is undertaking a mega road show there. It's 50 kilometers long across all the constituencies of Ahmedabad, plus one constituency in Gandhinagar. Remember, 89 constituencies went to polls earlier today in the first phase. The remaining constituencies will go to polls on the 5th of December, that is Monday. And the Prime Minister leading a massive road show there. This is in keeping with what we've seen the Prime Minister do in other major elections, whether it was the UP election when he went to Banaras and had a roadshow there. We've seen this in the past as well. So the amount of support that has turned up for the Prime Minister, it's incredible. Siddhant is joining us now. Siddhant, you've been there in Gujarat on a number of occasions now in the last 2 or 3 months during this campaign. The kind of almost awe that people there have for Narendra Modi, adoration and awe that they have for him, even after 8 years, and before that 12 years as Chief Minister, 20 years in public office, that doesn't seem to be minimizing or coming down in any form or fashion. If anything, it's only increasing.
Absolutely, Zaka. And in fact, you know, Aam Aadmi Party always wanted to become a factor here in the state of Gujarat. In fact, they always spoke about what has not been done in the state. State doesn't have good schools. There are a lot of hyper-local issues. They have always spoken about it. But look at the people here on the streets of Ahmedabad, Zaka. They say it all. Like if after 27 years of being in power, if somebody who is enjoying this clout, this popularity, this love, then you know this crowd has left all of us speechless. Because Ahmedabad, one of the bastions of Bharatiya Janata Party, and you know Aam Aadmi Party, Congress Party, they all have extensively campaigned in Ahmedabad, Surat. But look at the crowd, the way people have come on the streets to welcome the Prime Minister, to catch a glimpse of a Prime Minister. And this time around, Prime Minister has chosen this a very unique format, where he is carrying out this roadshow, 50 kilometers long roadshow in a single go. So he's covering all constituency of Ahmedabad plus one constituency in Gandhinagar. And this is going to be Prime Minister's last roadshow. Tomorrow he has 4 public meetings in Gujarat, and then he's going to end his election campaign in the state. But what messaging is being done here is that, and in fact, Zaka, जैसे कहते हैं ना कि एक डिश में और मसाला डाल दिया मल्लिकार्जुना खड़गे के उस बयान ने, the statement, the Ravan remark that he has made. लोग पैर पे कुल्हाड़ी मारते हैं, उन्होंने कुल्हाड़ी में अपना पैर दे मारा मल्लिकार्जुना खड़गे ने, क्योंकि because of that statement only, the love has increased for the Prime Minister. And even we have been reporting from a very first day, Zaka, that this is the biggest mistake that Congress Party has again committed. Since 2008, they have been in the business of committing this mistake by making personal remarks on the Prime Minister. This time around, again, it has boomerang. And why I'm saying it has boomerang and it has gone against them, because I can see the people coming on the streets of Ahmedabad to welcome the Prime Minister. So people always say that, BJP is doing this to kill anti-incumbency, BJP is doing that to kill anti-incumbency.
All right, Siddhant, just give me a moment. I'm sorry I'm interrupting, but we had pictures just moments ago of the Prime Minister's convoy sort of making way, if you will. You can see those pictures again, making way to the side so that an ambulance which was right behind was given right of passage. You can see that ambulance, you can see the flashing lights of the ambulance right behind there. This happened just moments ago. The Prime Minister's convoy, you can see the SPG sort of coming in. There were people who were behind the convoy coming to the front and telling the SPG to move the convoy slightly towards the side of the road and then allowing the ambulance to pass through. And if I remember, when he was there in Gujarat a few weeks ago also for a campaign event, something similar had happened where there was an ambulance that was given right of passage, if you will, given the right of way to pass through, and the convoy had to stop. You can see the images on the right. The pictures on the left are the live shots, and the ones on the right happened just moments ago, where you can see the SPG personnel there directing the ambulance, allowing it to move forward, giving it right of way, as it were, and the convoy sort of moving to the side for a brief moment. So let me go back to Siddhant. Siddhant, just walk us through the pictures, please.
Yes, that's what, Zaka. Every time, Zaka, we speak about anti-incumbency in the state. We say, nahi, log thoda naraz hai, nahi, is baar demonetization hai, is baar GST hai, is baar COVID mismanagement hai. Every time, opposition parties try to create this atmosphere of anti-incumbency. They give statements, they make personal remarks on Prime Minister. But it seems, there's no effect on people of Gujarat. Look at the crowd on the road, jam-packed. Ahmedabad is jam-packed. I'm witnessing a very different Ahmedabad today. I've never seen this Ahmedabad before. I've covered many road shows of the Prime Minister, and trust me, the kind of crowd which has come today is unprecedented, unexpected. And this is happening after 27 years of being in power.
All right. Okay, Siddhant, we'll leave it at that. We'll see how this story plays out for the BJP. Remember, the second phase is happening on Monday, the 5th of December. That's when Ahmedabad, Baroda, the other big cities will go to polls, and we'll see if the grip that the BJP has in Gujarat after 27 years continues to be just as strong, whether that will further tighten, because remember, the last election happened under the shadow of the Patidar agitation. So the BJP had been cut down to its worst performance in almost 5 elections. Can it better that in this current election cycle? We'll wait and see, and we'll know on the 8th of December. That's a wrap. Griha joining you with the biggest exclusive.
Thank you so much for staying with CNN News 18. I'm Griha Siddiqui, and we're going back to Gujarat and in Ahmedabad, where Prime Minister Narendra Modi is on this mega road show, this grand Modi road show that speaks volumes about brand Modi. Remember, he is now campaigning for the second phase of elections in Gujarat. This is the 50-kilometer long road show that he has decided to go ahead and undertake, starting from the Naroda Gam and ending at Gandhinagar South constituency. This was Prime Minister Narendra Modi's mega show of strength in his home bastion in Gujarat. The 3-hour-long mega road show spanning across 16 assembly constituencies in Ahmedabad. This is for the second phase of Gujarat Assembly elections. You can see the turnout over here. This is what Prime Minister Narendra Modi attracts while he is in his home state, or for that matter in any other place in the country. However, it's special when he returns to Gujarat. This is phase 2 of the Gujarat elections for which he is campaigning for. As you can see, that entire cavalcade is moving through the streets of Ahmedabad in Gujarat. We are cutting across these live visuals of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. The mega show of strength. This fight in Gujarat becomes very, very important, considering this time around, this is a 3-cornered fight between the BJP, between the Congress and the new entrant in the Aam Aadmi Party. However, whether the BJP is choosing to acknowledge the Aam Aadmi Party is also something that is some sort of a big question that everybody is speaking about. What is it that happens with Aam Aadmi Party's entry? Does it manage to go ahead and cut into Congress and BJP vote share, or there is no impact whatsoever on ground? We have tried to assess all of that through the day as Gujarat went to polls today on phase 1 of polling. Right now, however, we're concentrating on this mega roadshow, taking this across to my colleague Arun Dhanta, who's now joining us live from Gujarat itself. Arun, you have gauged the mood of the people in Gujarat ever since they were putting out and going out there to cast their vote today to now, this evening, now that the Prime Minister himself is out and about in Ahmedabad. What are you picking up from the ground?
Well, that's right. And if I can share the details as to how many days Prime Minister has spent in last, if you see, last 10 days, Prime Minister has been in Gujarat for 8 days. And today is the longest road show that he has commenced. It is going to be a 50-kilometer long road show which will be covering 16 assembly constituencies. And we are told that the road show has started from Naroda Jam and it will end at the Gandhinagar South constituency. So it is going to be almost a more than 3 hour long road show in which we will see people will be welcoming Prime Minister Modi on the both sides of the road. And in fact, today and tomorrow, 2 days, when Prime Minister Modi in Gujarat, he has a very, very jam-packed schedule. In fact, we have seen that how Prime Minister Modi covered the entire Gujarat, especially in last 7 to 8 days. Not only Prime Minister Modi, Union Home Minister Amit Shah was the one who was chairing meetings, along with that holding road shows, and also especially those people who were upset with BJP who denied ticket. Amit Shah was given the responsibility to speak to them, to persuade them, and at various levels, BJP has worked in these Gujarat elections. Today, 89 seats were up for the grab. And if you see the 2017 results, BJP had got 48 seats. So they have the pressure to better their tally. And also importantly, especially 40 to 45 seats in which specifically they targeted, which they lost last time with a very close margin. That is also something which is going to be very, very important. This time around, the strategy has been completely different. They have been working on this Panna Pramukh strategy, but this time around they added 5 members with a Panna Pramukh, which means that 6 people are managing 30 voters of a particular area. So this much BJP has gone this time in Gujarat, and it shows with the intensity of Prime Minister Modi, which he himself is showing on the streets of Gujarat.
Absolutely, Arun. Thank you so much for that information. This is a mega roadshow by Narendra Modi and the BJP. You can see the kind of people, the sea of humanity that you see on your screens that have assembled to greet their Prime Minister. They're calling this a Pushpanjali Yatra. This is a mega show of strength also because remember, this is Prime Minister Narendra Modi's home state where he is undertaking this massive roadshow from. We leave it at that. We are now focusing on the biggest exclusive tonight. Now, this is the ever-expanding Liquorgate saga. Now, from Delhi, it has made rumblings in southern India now as the Enforcement Directorate has named Telangana Rashtra Samiti MLC K. Kavita in the Delhi liquor policy case. In a court filing, the agency claimed that Kavita, who is the daughter of Telangana Chief Minister K. Chandrasekhar Rao, was part of a South group which paid at least 100 crores in kickbacks to leaders of the Aam Aadmi Party through businessman Vijay Nair, who's already been arrested by the CBI in the case. Now remember, after the CBI FIR in the excise policy case, the Enforcement Directorate is further investigating it under PMLA to ascertain the proceeds of the crime generated due to the alleged irregularities in the formulation and the implementation of the policy. Now, the Enforcement Directorate made these claims while seeking custody of Amit Arora. Arora, remember, is the director of Gurugram-based Buddy Retail and allegedly a close aide of Delhi Deputy Chief Minister Manish Sisodia, also an accused in the case. Here's a lowdown.
किसी भी प्रदेश में इलेक्शन होने वाला होता है वहां मोदी से पहले ईडी पहुंच जाता है। तो आज तेलंगाना में भी यही हुआ है, कुछ नया नहीं है। अगले साल हमारे यहाँ हमारे प्रदेश में इलेक्शन है, तो मोदी जी के आने से पहले ईडी वाले आ गए।
कोई एजेंसी के कार्रवाई पर यदि किसी को कोई भी आपत्ति हो तो उनके पास कोर्ट का दरवाज़ा खटखटाने का मौका है। कोर्ट के सामने जाकर अपनी मासूमियत के, अपने निर्दोष होने के सारे सबूत पेश करके कोर्ट से क्लीन चिट ले लेनी चाहिए।
Not only the liquor scam, not only the liquor scam, every scam should come out. Every scam that KCR's family is involved in, there should be an inquiry on every scam.
Now, why is Amit Arora important? Remember, he was accused number 9 in the first information report by the CBI and was accused of receiving a bribe of 1 crore rupees from a liquor manufacturer on behalf of Manish Sisodia, allegedly. Now, there was also a video that was put out in public domain by the BJP that showed Amit Arora revealing details about how money allegedly exchanged hands and how outsiders like Vijay Nair were involved in the formulation of the liquor policy. So, in a remand application following the arrest of Amit Arora, the Enforcement Directorate has told the court that the Delhi excise policy was formulated with quote-unquote deliberate loopholes and inbuilt mechanism to facilitate illegal activities. Now, let's take a look at what really does this remand copy of the liquor scam say. We have managed to access that report for you. Now, here is what we have found. Now, this says that K. Kavita was a key member of this South group that they are mentioning over here that allegedly gave kickbacks to Mr. Vijay Nair in this case. Like I mentioned, 100 crores in kickbacks were given by this South group, of which K. Kavita is a part of. Now, they also went on to claim that Vijay Nair was the one who was receiving those kickbacks on behalf of the Aam Aadmi Party. So that was point number 3 that we have managed to ascertain through that remand copy. Also, K. Kavita's name was cited by Amit Arora. So that is where K. Kavita's name has actually come from through those investigations, and that has been revealed by Mr. Arora. He in fact also claims that he made 10 phone calls to K. Kavita. That is also something that this copy mentions. Kavita also changed her phones IMEI 6 times. So 6 times is where she changed her phone devices is also mentioned in that very remand copy. Also further goes on to claim that 36 users used 170 devices and also went on to destroy them. So that is part of that. Kavita was close to Manish Sisodia, also to Mr. Reddy and Abhishek Bonapalli, who was also arrested by the CBI, and that connection has also been ascertained, something that they're talking about. Then they're going back to what has been alleged by the CBI also, that wholesale 12% profit is what the Aam Aadmi Party got with this new liquor policy. Also, the retail profits were to the tune of 185%, and that ended up costing the state exchequer, and this is something that they are wanting the Aam Aadmi Party to respond to. Profits devised to extract kickbacks for Aam Aadmi Party, that is the main bone of contention, and this is something that they have been talking about since the beginning of this investigation. So the charge that K. Kavita is now going with is the misuse of central agencies with election on mind, and that's why this has now come to Telangana. Although another aspect to look at it is, despite the defamation suit that was filed earlier by K. Kavita against BJP's Pravesh Verma and also Manjinder Singh Sirsa for dragging her name into this Delhi liquor gate, it turns out that her name does appear in the remand copy, which we have just about shown for you. So the question that we are now asking, now as Liquorgate has hit Telangana, do we call this a corruption that has gone south, or is this the conspiracy that K. Kavita also is talking about? Let me take this across to my guest who is now joining us on the broadcast. Vineet Goenka of the BJP is with us, Krishank Mane of the TRS, also Professor Akashdeep Muni, who is a political analyst and also is pro Aam Aadmi Party, joins us, and also joining me is Mr. Ramakrishna Sangam, who is the chief editor of Excel India News magazine. Krishank, let me start with you. Now that K. Kavita's name is there in the remand copy, something that she had completely stayed away from, and she had also filed a defamation suit against the members of the BJP, how is the TRS now choosing to respond to it?
Well, finally, after 3 months of a lot of noise by the Bharatiya Janata Party, Delhi leaders, the state Telangana BJP state president, after which even immediately some BJP karyakartas came to attack Kavita ji's house. After 3 months of lot of noise, the ED has named after an accused mentioning Kavita ji.
Yeah.
Okay, we are ready for the investigation to face the trial, while the defamation suit was on the Bharatiya Janata Party leaders for time and again speaking about her in the media. While we are ready to face the ED trial, we will cooperate with them.
Okay.
Though we understand, Grihaji, that this is absolutely politically motivated because it was started by the Bharatiya Janata Party leaders.
What is South Group? What is this South Group that is mentioned in the remand copy?
Probably that is the Bharatiya Janata Party which should answer South Group, because
ED has
they
mentioned
want
in the remand copy,
the
so
South
you need to
for politics.
Her name is there. Prashant, her name is there. Mr. Reddy's name is there.
Well, that because they have named it as the South Group, the ED has named it as the South Group. I think the ED should answer, Grihaji, because probably that is the end route of politics for Bharatiya Janata Party. They are finding the heat in South to enter their party here. So probably that is why they have named it as South Group.
Okay.
So
Mr. Goenka, that is the
very
charge
clear.
that the TRS is sticking to. The fact that even K. Kavita in her earlier reaction had mentioned that whenever there is election in a certain state, before the BJP going ahead and entering, the enforcement directorate or one of the central agencies actually comes knocking on the doors on the opposition or the government, in this case TRS government in the state of Telangana. How does the BJP choose to counter that argument?
Ram Ram to you, Grihaji, and all my co-panelists and the august audience who are watching this. It's a shameful act of Aam Aadmi Party, the Kejriwal government, which not only went to an extent of forcing Delhi citizens to drink liquor and also involving other politicians. Now, what I can understand from the list of accused, there is the gentleman Mahanta Reddy, his son Raghav, Miss Kavita, Sharat Reddy. Now, who are all these people? These people essentially been marked by a South lobby, not by us, not by ED, but by Mr. Vijay Nair. And who is this Vijay Nair? Vijay Nair is a gentleman who stays in Kailash Gehlot's house. Who is Kailash Gehlot? He is minister in Kejriwal's government. And who is this Vijay Nair in turn? He is the same gentleman who is also an AAP communication strategist. He is involved. He collects more than 100 crore rupees on behalf of the South lobby. These 4 or 5 names which have come up. And who is along with him? Amit Arora. And Amit Arora is a director of a company whose another director is Dinesh Arora. Now, we all know that one Mr. Arora has turned approver. He has given statements, and then there are videos which have come out of this accused who have claimed that these people were involved and this money has come up. It's a shameful act by elected
Mr. Goenka, he's the same Mr. Arora who is the accused number 9, like I mentioned in the CBI FIR. You guys have put out his own video in the public domain. So that has also happened.
Of course, these people have shamefully not only done this act of, coming together, making a cartel, doing this kind of huge corruption, unparalleled corruption, and then shamefully claiming this particular part on the video.
But there were big questions that were also raised against the BJP, Mr. Goenka, or how did the BJP get its hands on that very video and then put it out in the public domain? That was never answered by the BJP.
See, I had failed to understand the intelligence and the wisdom of the people who asked, where did this video come from?
Okay.
We should condemn the act. ये कांड को हमने ये करना चाहिए, फैसला करना चाहिए कि वीडियो कहां से आया. We should not go behind who brought the video. That you can ask the agencies which have come up with the video.
All right, Akashdeep Muni, I'd like to bring you in. I'd like to bring you in.
Shamelessly,
the fact
this elected.
That now
let me complete
this
one
has
line.
Gone to, I'll come to you, Mr. I'll come to you, Mr. Goenka. Just give me a second. Let me ask this to Mr. Muni. The fact that there is a connection now being drawn with the TRS and the Aam Aadmi Party. Where do you see this controversy now going? K. Kavita has, ridiculed the charges. However, she goes on to say that she is going to cooperate with the agencies. However, what has come out in the remand copy is certain IMEI numbers that have exchanged that actually talks about how there were phones that she might have changed. However, the number remains the same. Right. What is the connection that you think is being drawn with what has been mentioned in the remand copy by the ED?
While my co-panelists doubt the intelligence of unbiased journalists in this country, I'll go ahead with the facts of the matter. Let's go into the facts of the matter. What is the case all about? What is the case against K. Kavita and what is the case against Aam Aadmi Party people? The case is that they exchanged phones, and that too, they exchanged phones, and that too, they have done it. That is an allegation in a remand copy. Now, if they exchange phones, which is a crime, very good. They should be put behind bars. But then I fail to understand, Griyaji, that why the accused number 1 is not named in the charge sheet. If there is so much investigation, for 6 months, BJP spokespersons, my fellow panelists, were shouting that this is a corrupt party, this has all corrupt members. Why?
Okay, Mr. Muni, I'll bring you back. We'll go there. We'll go to Mr. Manish Sisodia. But along with Manish Sisodia, there's also Mr. Abhishek Boinpalli, who was arrested by the CBI. And now they are claiming that he was a close associate of Miss Kavita. Now, that is the connection that they have also drawn. All right, one argument can be put aside that anybody can go ahead and change their handsets. What's the big deal about it? But they have also mentioned that she was in cahoots and was talking to Mr. Vijay Nair in this case and was in close contact with Mr. Abhishek Boinpalli as well.
What is the evidence?
I'm talking to you on the behalf of the remand copy details that we have managed to access. I'm asking you. This is the accusation against AAP and TRS.
Exactly, this is an accusation. The point is that if they have matter, if they have evidence, they should go to the court of law and then let the court decide. If the court decides that K. Kavita is an criminal or Manish Sisodia is a criminal, they should be put behind bars and they'll be done. But on the basis of remand copy, on the basis of allegations, if you say that Aam Aadmi Party and TRS are full of criminals, this is wrong. That is why they should do a fact check and get evidence first and then put out a charge sheet. And there, of course, there is a court of law to take the adjudication process further.
Okay.
Of course.
Let me bring in a neutral voice. All right. We have a senior journalist on the panel, Mr. Ramakrishna. I would read an excerpt from that remand copy that I have with me. Now, this mentions that Mr. Amit Arora has used / changed / destroyed his mobile phone 11 times, indicating destruction of evidence. And that is what has also been alleged of Miss Kavita. It goes on to further name Miss Kavita. This is accused or suspect number 32. And then there is a list of IMEI numbers that she might have exchanged. And that is the evidence that is put forth by the ED in court. How much do you think this should hold? Or do you think this is a controversy at all?
Yeah, this particular case has been creating commotion for the last few months in Hyderabad and Telangana, which is going to polls in a year from now. And Kavita, right from the beginning, even today, yesterday, her name figured in the Samita Arora's remand report. But much before that, also her name figured in at various levels, at political level and in public meetings of BJP leaders. They fairly blamed her that I think she is responsible for this Delhi liquor scam. And as you mentioned just now, South Group, she is the kingpin of South Group. But she has, today morning also, she spoke to media and she hit back saying that this is nothing but BJP's political vendetta, trying to paint all opposition leaders as corrupt or criminals in such a way.
Yeah, so where is this going is what my question is, sir.
Yeah, actually, in my view, of course, she has to fight it out in the court of law, as our co-panelist said. She has to face it legally and judicially. At the same time, this scam has assumed political proportions more than the actual what exactly went wrong with the Delhi liquor policy and how they changed it and tweaked it and to benefit a certain retail zones were gifted away or awarded to certain liquor syndicates. Apart from that, the political tones of this entire scam is that KCR or TRS have been targeted because they are opposing BJP in Telangana as well as at the national level. And Kavita also has been saying that just because we wanted to go national, they wanted to convert the name, change their name from TRS to BRS, Bharat Rashtra Samiti.
Right. Let me
they were targeted. That is their main contention, is that they were selectively targeted in this scam only because they are opposing BJP. Why not no opposition, ED or CBI raids against BJP, any leaders in BJP road states?
Vineet Goenka, please respond. Please respond to this.
This is a shameless defense by people who are involved in corruption, and that to corruption of this magnitude. It's a very open and a shut case where some people come together.
So it's not an open and a shut case because on the basis there was oral evidence and it has been marked by the CBI, and that's why that bail was granted to Mr. Nair and Mr. Boyenpalli. Oral evidence is not something which is admissible. How is it an open and shut case? Please tell me, sir.
I'll tell you that.
Yes.
Thank you for asking me this question.
Yes.
Have you ever heard state governments deliberately bringing down their own revenues to benefit certain people? I'll give you 3 incidents and I hope you won't interrupt me.
Yeah, please go
A
ahead.
bottle of 750 ml, which is to cost 550 rupees. And before this policy, in the old policy, the government is to get 330 rupees and the retailer is to get 8 rupees out of that. After this, now the thekedar will get 363 rupees and the government will get only 33 rupees. The thekedar will get additional 330 rupees. Why? Number 2, the commission was increased from 2% to 12%. Have you ever heard this in entire world? Forget about India. Number 3, those blacklisted companies which were blacklisted were allowed to come together. The earnest money deposit, the other parameters were made stringent so that few selects can only participate. We all know that in the airport zone, what happened? They gave away the earnest money deposit when the bidder did not meet with the requirement, which was against the bidding process. Whose money is this? This is government's money, citizens' money, which has been there. We also know that Deputy Chief Minister Manish Sisodia shamelessly did a PowerPoint presentation on equitable distribution of liquor. I have never heard a single elected representative anywhere in India do this kind of PowerPoint presentation. They went ahead, got involved in this particular scam. When their names have come out, they are now trying to give an excuse that this has been done deliberately by the party in the center. खुद का काम को खुद ने तो own करना चाहिए. They have done this shamelessly. They should resign, face the court and also the public.
Krishank, you know, this is what BJP and for that matter the central agency, I'm coming to you, Akashdeep, and central agencies are also sticking with, and especially the BJP, and I'll add to what Mr. Goenka has said, that because of having similar liquor policies is why the entire thing, the Delhi liquor gate like we are calling it, has reached Telangana, and that's why this accusation of Miss Kavita being in cahoots with the likes of Mr. Abhishek Bonapalli. What is the connection here? And what is K. Kavita's relationship with Mr. Boyenpalli, and how do you actually counter these charges that have come about in this remand copy?
Griyaji, if we are talking about the policy, I'll just conclude it in one line, because government of Telangana's revenue has not got down but has actually gained when it comes to the excise policy. So government has been benefiting and not private individuals. While they are putting allegations, if you notice, the Bharatiya Janata Party, the panelists spoke, and their entire argument was to try to establish, calling it only one word, almost 16 times saying it, shameless, shameless, shameless. This was the only argument what they're keeping, and all based on the ED's investigation, which definitely was guided or initiated by the Bharatiya Janata Party, because Kavita ji's name was first taken out by the Bharatiya Janata Party leaders and not the ED. What we are saying is we are ready for a trial, we are ready for an investigation more than the Bharatiya Janata Party, because see, here it is a selective approach of targeting individuals. Unlike we, government of Telangana, we are challenging the poaching case where you see Mr. B.L. Santosh is running away from investigation. They do not want to face the sit inquiry. They are approaching the court asking for a CBI inquiry because they want protection.
I'd let Mr. Goenka answer that.
We are facing an investigation. Kavita ji has the gut, the courage to face the trial. She said she will
Mr.
face the
Goenka,
inquiry.
why I mentioned Amit Arora's name, BJP was the one who released that video, and that allegation is also there that we do not know whether this particular person who has come out, who's come out and mentioned this as far as this remand. Yeah, I'll come to you, Krishank. As part of this remand copy,
every accused in the world, have you ever seen in the world?
It cannot be challenged. How do we know it cannot be challenged?
Griyaji, in this case, section 306 CRPC.
So let me complain. Gentlemen, allow me to speak. I didn't speak when you were speaking, sir.
Okay, all right, 30 seconds. We need. Mr. Goenka, please. 30 seconds. I'm very short on time. I have to go back to this breaking news that's also coming in on
Can I request your other panelists
please,
to keep
please.
quiet when I am speaking?
Mr. Goenka, please.
So, Mahendra transferred 1 crore rupees in account of Radha Industries, which is owned by Arora. We all know this. Vijay Nair collected this money. This is known. And will you not call a shameless fellow a shameless fellow? What's the harm? These people will do this kind of activities and then face the cameras and they have audacity to say that we are calling them shameless. They should actually hide their faces.
You should again going
sir,
back
to
what has been accused. What has already been accused, nothing has been proven.
Ma'am, I would like to complete my sentence.
All right, please go ahead.
I would like to complete my sentence.
Quickly make your
point. Let me complete my sentence. Grihaji. Yeah. You'll have to allow me to complete my sentence.
Sure, please go ahead.
Grihaji, dry Gujarat, 75%.
And I never speak in between, please.
All right. I'm really sorry, Mr. Goenka, Mr. Kushank, I'm really sorry. We have to cut across to Gujarat, where Prime Minister Narendra Modi is holding this mega roadshow. I'm cutting across to these live visuals at the moment. Remember, this is a grand roadshow. It's called the Pushpanjali Yatra that Prime Minister Narendra Modi and BJP leaders are going ahead and being a part of. There you can see visuals of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. He's also going ahead and giving that Pushpanjali, or that showing that respect to various leaders and the statues of various leaders. Those are floral tributes that he's offering to leaders like Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel or Pandit Deen Dayal Upadhyay and also Subhash Chandra Bose. And that yatra continues. Taking this across to my colleague Arun Dhanta, who is joining us live. Arun, what's going on? What is the mood, the fervor that we are looking at when Prime Minister Narendra Modi is out there on the roads in Gujarat? What is it that we see around?
Well, people are extremely jubilant, and mind you, today is the penultimate day of Prime Minister Modi's campaign in Gujarat. So tomorrow, on 2nd of December, he is going to conclude his Gujarat campaign, and then it will be up to the voters who will cast their votes in the remaining seats on 5th of December. And as we speak, Prime Minister Modi is on a very long road show, which we are told is about 50 kilometers, and it will take almost more than 3 hours for Prime Minister to cover this entire road show. And we are also given to understand that 16 constituencies, assembly constituencies, will be covered in this road show of Prime Minister Modi. And we can see that people are on the road, people are on the streets, and Prime Minister Modi is also showing a gesture towards them, raising his hand and trying to respond to every wave which he's getting from the people whom we can see standing, showering, petals on him. And in fact, this is the longest roadshow which we have seen in the recent past of Prime Minister Modi, 50 kilometer of a roadshow. And Prime Minister Modi has been camping in Gujarat for last 7 to 8 days. Continuously, he had gone back to Delhi for 2 days, and then again he is back on the streets of Gujarat, and he has covered almost every part of the Gujarat. And today it shows that when he's covering 16 assembly segments, and these 16 assembly segments are very important, which will go to polls on 5th of December, which is also going to be a very, very important phase for the BJP, because in those seats in 2017, BJP had got the major chunk of seats. So not only to better the tally of last time, but also to maintain the result which they gave last time in 2017 is something which is a pressure for the BJP, and therefore we are seeing the entire machinery of the BJP, not only the union ministers, but we had seen the ministers from the neighboring states like Rajasthan, and in fact ministers from Uttar Pradesh, to to come here in Gujarat and speak to the people of their state. So BJP has
also not to mention the fiery speeches and the public meetings that Narendra Modi was also part of. This was part of this Pushpanjali Yatra. We leave it at that. Arun, thank you so much for joining us. We'll, however, continue with our coverage when it comes to this 50-kilometer mega road show by Prime Minister Narendra Modi. However, right now, handing it to my colleague Shivani Gupta, who is now going ahead with Plain Speak.
Welcome everyone. Thanks a lot for staying with us. You're watching Plain Speak with me, Shivani Gupta. For the first phase of assembly elections, Gujarat voted for 89 seats today. Surat is amongst the key areas voting in the first phase. Meanwhile, the attention has also shifted to the 93 seats that go to the polls in the second phase on December 5, and especially to Ahmedabad, where the Prime Minister is doing his record 50-kilometer long road show. This came after the Prime Minister raised the Ravan attack against him by new Congress chief Kharge in a rally today. Could this barb cost the Congress badly? That's one of the big questions we asked today, along with the impact that Prime Minister Modi is going to have in his home state. Remember, 27 years of anti-incumbency that his party is facing. And the Prime Minister's personal connect with the electorate in Gujarat is a key factor in overcoming that. Can the BJP do that, and with flying colours as they are projecting? All that and more with our guests in just a bit. First, a look at the voting percentages today. The voting numbers in 2012, the first phase witnessed a voter turnout in excess of 70%, which dropped a little bit to about 67%, under 67% in 2017, which was the last assembly elections. Today, till 5 p.m, the percentage stands at 57%. But mind you, the voting continues beyond 5 p.m. for those already at booths. Tonight, a provisional percentage will be given, and the actual definitive numbers of polling percentage usually get confirmed a day later. So it's possible the numbers this time around could touch the numbers at least from last elections. And what would those percentages mean for the BJP? Now, by now, most opponents of the BJP have learned that attacking the individual Narendra Modi doesn't work for them. Rather, it backfires. Still, Congress ended up making a faux pas when their new president, Mallikarjun Kharge, likened Modi to Ravan during this election campaigning. No wonder then the BJP star campaigner, Prime Minister Modi himself, raked it up today. Before we get to exactly what was said by both sides, let's take a look at some prominent attacks on the Prime Minister from even before he became the PM and how that has gone off for the opposition. So we all remember the Maut Ka Saudagar barb by Sonia Gandhi, then Congress president. Now, this happened in 2007, and the result was that the BJP won 107 seats in Gujarat Assembly elections that year. Cut to January 2014, Manishankar Ayyar, famous for his attack ahead of the Lok Sabha elections, that they will find a job of a chaiwala somewhere for Narendra Modi. The result, the BJP actually alone won 282 seats in the 2014 Lok Sabha elections and came to power, although as part of the NDA, but on its own might. October 2016, Rahul Gandhi said the Prime Minister indulged in khoon ki dalali. The result, the BJP won 324 seats in the 2017 UP Assembly elections. That was also a landmark victory for them. Cut to December 2017, Manishankar Ayyar once again ends up calling Prime Minister Narendra Modi Neej. The result, the BJP wins Gujarat Assembly polls with 49.1% votes, although it was a little bit too cut for them, but eventually they did win. Now, over the next few years, from 2018 to 2019, Rahul Gandhi, remember, had launched the entire Commander-in-Chief campaign, the Chaukidar Chor Hai campaign against the Prime Minister. Manishankar Ayyar was at it again, calling the Prime Minister Neech again. Mayawati had said that Modi abandoned his wife. They often drag in his personal life, his mother as well. Congress launched that entire Chaukidar Chor Hai campaign, and the result, the BJP came back for the first time at the centre for a back-to-back term, and this time their majority even increased, 303 seats in 2019 Lok Sabha elections. Now listen in to what the PM said today, responding to what Mallikarjun Kharge had said earlier.
मोदी को देखकर वोट दो। अब भाई तुम्हारे को तुम्हारी सूरत कितनी बार देखना, कारपोरेशन में भी तुम्हारी सूरत देखना, एमएलए इलेक्शन भी तुम्हारी सूरत देखना, एमपी इलेक्शन में भी तुम्हारी सूरत देखना, हर जगह कितने हैं भाई? क्या आपके रावण के जैसा 100 मुख है? क्या है? समझ में नहीं आता मुझे.
અને કોંગ્રેસ પાર્ટી એને ખબર નથી કે આ રામ ભક્તોનું ગુજરાત છે. હવે તમે મને કહો, રામ ભક્તોના ધરતી પર રામ ભક્તોની સામે એમના પાસે બોલાવડાવવામાં આવ્યું કે તમે મોદીને 100 માથાવાળો રાવણ કહો. બોલો ભાઈઓ બહેનો, આપણે જાણીએ છીએ કે આ કોંગ્રેસ પાર્ટી એ રામના અસ્તિત્વને સ્વીકાર નથી કરતી. આ કોંગ્રેસ પાર્ટી અયોધ્યામાં ભગવાન રામ મંદિરને પણ, ભવ્ય રામ મંદિરમાં પણ એનો વિશ્વાસ નથી. આ કોંગ્રેસ પાર્ટી એને તો રામ સેતુ સામે વાંધો. એવી કોંગ્રેસ પાર્ટી મને ગાળો બોલવા માટે રામાયણમાંથી રાવણને લઈ આવી. બોલો.
So the big question we asked today, just to what extent can the Modi magic work again for the BJP? It's almost a given that it will, but to what extent? Because they're facing anti-incumbency of 27 years this time around, and especially when it comes to the sentiment on personal attacks against them.
अकेली आम आदमी पार्टी है जो महंगाई से आपको मुक्ति दिला सकती है, बेरोजगारी से मुक्ति दिला सकती है.
बीजेपी इस देश की आवाज नहीं सुन रही, आरएसएस बीजेपी इस देश की आवाज नहीं सुन रही है और वो रिजिड तरीके से देश को चला रहे हैं. उनके जो आइडिया है, उनकी जो सोच है, उससे वो चला रहे हैं.
हमें गुजरात को आतंक के खेल खेलने वालों से हमेशा हमेशा बचा के रखना है.
I must begin by saying that as far as elections go, this one is looking possibly one of the easiest, or the one-way election as many are terming it, because on ground there are no big issues that people are talking about. Not just that it's not being talked about by the media, but people on the ground are not talking about it. And then in that case, what is it that could hurt the BJP government from coming back to power? Let me go and take that to our guest. Tuhin Sinha is joining us from the BJP. Dr. Anshul Avijit from the Congress. Radhika Ramaseshan is a senior journalist and columnist. Arun Anand is consulting editor First Post. I want to focus on the fact that the Prime Minister raised the Ravan attack against him today. Dr. Anshul Avijit, I want to begin with you. Why does the Congress party keep doing this? Why does it not learn its lessons?
You must remember that, the Prime Minister himself has not been averse to such attacks, invoking mythology for characterization in order to mock. As Renuka Chaudhary ji reminded us, he said similar kind of things. Implicitly in the Rajya Sabha, he's been making all kinds of comments. A number of BJP leaders have been making personal comments, including in West Bengal, to the West Bengal Chief Minister, and of all nature. I mean, very recently you must have heard the CM of Assam making some comments about a beard, absolutely irrational and illogical. Here the comment was about the frequent appearances of the Prime Minister and the fact that the BJP and this government has reduced Indian polity to simply just elections. They are simply interested in fighting elections from the lowest to the biggest. I can understand that every election is a high-stake election. I'm not undermining the nature of any election. But the fact that you've forsaken governance for the sake of elections is what the point that was trying to be made.
But I have two questions. I have two follow-up questions to you before I go to Tuhin Sinha of the BJP. One, why do you attack the Prime Minister for being the BJP's star campaigner? I mean, it's almost like saying that Virat Kohli is India's best batsman, but why does he have to play for India? Arey bhai, he's their star campaigner. The public relates to him. He wins mandates for him. I don't understand as an opposition, how can you be, I'm sorry to say, but sore losers by saying कि नहीं तुम मत आओ field में. ऐसे थोड़ा ना होता है भाई. And secondly, you may be right that no party is above making personal comments, but your party suffers the most when you attack Narendra Modi. At least for self-preservation, don't do it.
Indian democracy, I have always maintained, is highly invitational. The Prime Minister has every right to go to every single campaign he chooses.
Then?
Nobody's denying him that. What we are saying simply, and what Kharge Saab was saying, was that Indian polity has been reduced by this government and by the Prime Minister himself simply to elections itself. So
how has the government, no, one second, how has the BJP done that, or how has the Prime Minister done that? Are they saying कि इतने election extra कराओ? वो उन्होंने कुछ extra election करा दिए क्या इंडिया में? जो election होते थे वही हो रहे हैं ना?
No. You don't. Over the period of which BJP has been in power, you must realize that everything has been about winning elections by hook or crook. Even elected governments are made to fall by their Machiavellian crooked methods.
That's a separate argument. Anshul, that's a separate argument, but I fundamentally cannot wrap my head around the criticism that you're fighting elections well. That can't be a criticism.
It is an election speech. What is happening in Gujarat, by the way, you said that there are no issues on the ground. I completely disagree with that. There may be no issues in the noises that are created above the ground, in the spaces which are controlled by the media, but in the ground, as our micro strategy tells us, there are a number of issues related to inflation, about unemployment, about gross iniquities and mismanagement, which roots go back right to the mismanagement during the pandemic.
I only said that because today was the first phase of polling, and through the morning we spoke to multiple people from all cross sections on ground in the first set of polling of the 89 seats, and actually nobody talked about inflation. So what
Shivani,
am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to ignore that? No, I'm not saying that I'm not saying that that's a definitive, indication that literally nobody has an issue. Of course, that's not the case. But generally when we cover elections, we do get the people talking about what matters to them. Here they did not. As a journalist, I have to acknowledge that. I cannot bury my head in the sand.
Shivani, nobody is undermining your report or what you got from the ground. But let me tell you another picture. Let me tell you what is happening on the ground from the feedback we've got. There is a huge amount of discontent. There were 27 agitations that were going on in Gujarat prior to this election, and they're still going on. Now, how it translates into vote, we will see.
Okay, but fair enough. Fair enough. I come back to my fundamental question. The Prime Minister roadshow, and a record roadshow of 50 kilometers. I think the route of the Rath Yatra is being recreated, and this is happening in Ahmedabad. Those visuals are on the screen. Tuhin, very quickly, your comments on what Anshul is saying, that listen, your party also makes comments. Narendra Modi himself has made comments. What is so earth-shattering about what Kharge said?
Good evening, Shivani. Good evening to all your viewers. Well, I will, without mincing words, tell you why exactly Malika Arjun Kharge ji made this Ravan jibe against Prime Minister now. He said it because the previous day, the Prime Minister had put the Congress party on the mat by hitting a raw nerve, which is the Congress's soft approach towards terrorism. In fact, I have written an article on how the Congress party had compromised national security in those years. Now, whenever you make an accusation of that, the Congress gets rattled, and to deflect attention from that, the Congress said something very absurd, which it knew would grab media attention, which it did. But, in fact, it would have been better if the media had stuck to that and asked them to respond to the Prime Minister's queries. This is the reason why Malika Arjun Kharge on this particular occasion made the Ravan jibe. But the sad part, as pointed out by Honorable Prime Minister himself today, is that this is the party which had filed, which when it was in government, had filed an affidavit in the Supreme Court saying Lord Ram does not exist. So why is it so enamored of Ravan? It shows the evil intent, and the string of comments which have come, absurd comments which have come from the Congress party starting 2007, starting with Maut Ka Saudagar, shows their personal angst against one person who has completely vanquished the party and led it to a situation where it faces its worst existential crisis.
And not from the BJP, mind you, in this case, from the Aam Aadmi Party. That's a complete separate issue that I'll get Mr. Anshul Avijit to speak on. But I want to bring in Radhika and Arun Anand also. Radhika, what do you think? Is this another faux pas that could end up hurting the Congress party badly as far as these elections are concerned? Their prospects are already not too bright.
Look, several defeats later, right from 1995, the Congress has not learnt one lesson. Of course, in 1995, Narendra Modi was not foregrounded in electioneering, but ever since 2002, he is the pivot around which every election in Gujarat revolves. He is the axis. And the Congress has not recognized this fact, which stares everybody in the face. I am really surprised. I mean, what was the need to bring in this remark about Ravan? Obviously, you know, he's from Gujarat. He's the Prime Minister. He's a star campaigner. He is even the Prabhari of the Gujarat elections, if I may go to that extent of saying. He is carrying the entire burden of the elections on his shoulders. No election is easy. And the BJP recognizes that. You know, I mean, on the face of it, it looks like a one-sided
But
fight.
they don't leave it to chance.
There are certain issues on the ground, perhaps not as serious as they were in 2017, but issues there are. So therefore, the Prime Minister has stepped up on the plate to rectify whatever deficiencies there may exist in the BJP's campaign. I am shocked how the Congress, which has not run a robust campaign to begin with, I was in Gujarat, and individual Congress candidates are literally weeping that AICC treats Gujarat like a stepchild. I mean, Mr. Kharge has given one look in finally in that one meeting where he made this faux pas about Ravan. To me, it was highly avoidable because there are other issues relating to anti-incumbency, or if I may say so, relating to disenchantment with the Gujarat government, which he could have picked upon. Because what is a party supposed to do? A party is supposed to channelize discontent in its campaign so that it converts itself into some vote, something positive for the party.
And
that
what the
has
Congress
not
ends up
happened.
doing is actually giving a handle to the BJP and especially the Prime Minister to evoke that sentiment about him and his connect to Gujarat and his work in Gujarat and his history in Gujarat, and then, you know, base the campaign around it. Arun Anand, what do you make of the Congress criticism? And that's what's the genesis of Mr. Kharge's statement, even as Mr. Modi is campaigning today, and he will tomorrow before phase 2, that, you know, Mr. Modi and BJP have just converted everything into an election machinery, even at the cost of governance.
Shivani, you, when you were, you know, you had begun this conversation, so you have provided the answer to your question that what is the genesis of this? You have seen a pattern. The Congress leaders have been making these statements because there is a sense of entitlement in them. And that sense of entitlement, that how, when you come to the power or when you win elections, to express your power and not to serve the people. Then when you are out of power, then you are filled with rage because there is a sense of entitlement. And that sense of entitlement is getting reflected time and again in these statements. Having said that, I also want to make a couple of very quick points. One is that, unfortunately, what Radhika ji was saying, that, you know, Congress is getting it actually all wrong. See, what is the winning formula of BJP? They should have basically, you know, learned from that, and they should have kind of basically tried to, if not replicate that, probably, you know, do something about it. The winning formula is very simple. They have a charismatic leader who leads from the front. They have a government which delivers on the ground. They have an organizational structure which is very well oiled and which is very mobile and highly motivated, and they have a clear-cut ideological path. So all these combinations, so all these elements are unfortunately missing in, you know, the Congress camp. You have a leader, you know, who is doing Bharat Jodo Yatra, and he is avoiding the 2 states which are going to the election. And on the other hand, you have a leader, basically the Prime Minister of the country, and who is leading from the front. And last but not the least, just a humble submission to my friend from Congress. He began his conversation by saying, you know, that Narendra Modi or BJP has also invoked mythology. So it is not mythology. My humble submission is it is ancient Bharatiya history. So whatever, whether you are, whichever examples you are taking, so don't consider it mythology. I think that is a fundamental problem of Congress also, that they consider ancient Bharatiya, you know, history to be mythology.
Right. Anshul, you know, I also wanted to add, and you can respond to what our other panelists have said. You look at the Aam Aadmi Party, right? You look at what it's doing. You may like it or not like it, approve or not approve, but they're fighting cutthroat, right? They know how to fight elections. Now, you could say Arvind Kejriwal is Delhi Chief Minister. He's spending a lot of time in Gujarat. But that's just sometimes what you do. Nothing stops your leaders from campaigning in Gujarat either. And secondly, you have to be smart about it. I mean, the Aam Aadmi Party actually faced criticism that it didn't even open its mouth on the Bilkis Bano case. But it's smart about it. That's real politics.
Oh, come on. I mean, thank you for all your gratuitous advice of how smart we should be. We've been, look, what makes you think that our campaign is less intensive than any other campaign? It's not making the kind of noise that you expect it to make because it's a different kind of campaign this time.
And what kind of campaign is that? Please define it for me.
I will tell you what it is, Shivani. It is a micro strategy. It is a booth level strategy that is focused, that is concentrated. In fact, we have a manifesto for each and every constituency. It is not the kind of campaign which brandishes, in these kind of hoardings or anything shouting from the rooftops. It's a different nature of a campaign that started in that way with going from gullies to gullies with nukkad sabhas and then later on having bigger meetings as well, but primarily focused on booth level work. And also are trying to understand the grievances of the people and also telling you about your own history and accomplishments. For example, in Rajasthan, if we made a set of promises, we've delivered. Right? In Chhattisgarh, we said Nyay scheme will be implemented. It has been. Urban Eminrega has come in Rajasthan. 800 crores have been allocated there. So telling the people that yes, if promises are made, they will be fulfilled. Something that the BJP has no clue about.
Okay.
They have no
fair
history
enough.
about it.
You
They
can do all of that
contorted
and you can
Gujarat.
do gully to gully and door to door. Frankly, that's not earth shattering. Every party does that. So Congress is not unique in doing that. But what every party also has to do. One second, Anshul. If you can pull off the rug from under BJP's feet by doing this muted, silent campaign door to door, good luck to you.
It is not silent.
If the
It's
result,
just that it doesn't come to your ears.
no, how will it come to my ear? It comes to my ear the same way the BJP campaign comes to my ear. ऐसा कोई special तो नहीं है.
News me.
आप मेरी बात समझिए, अंशुल जी, please understand me. What I'm saying is, if you can pull the rug off the BJP's feet by doing what you're doing, good luck to you. Once the results come in, if it succeeds, everybody will study it, right? We can only comment on what we're seeing, and I've got Radhika on the show who said that your candidates are weeping on ground. Surely they wouldn't be weeping if they felt that they're so strong.
Everyone can have their point of view. Look, everyone can have their point of view. But what am I going to contest? You'll have to listen to me, right? I've been speaking to candidates. I know the candidates. I know the strategists over there. I've been speaking to them. Whatever other points.
So Rahul Gandhi not spending time in Gujarat was a strategy, right then?
What? Sorry?
Rahul Gandhi not spending time in Gujarat is a strategy then, right? It's a well thought out strategy.
Different kind of commitment that was made prior to this, to the Gujarat elections and the Himachal elections, which was a Bharat Jodo Yatra. It is not an apolitical yatra, but it is not connected to the Gujarat campaign. It is a different kind of yatra because the most pressing issue in this country has been the divisive nature of the BJP governance.
Okay, fair enough. Tuhin wanted to come in. Tuhin, final comments, please.
Well, Shivani, I'm very surprised with all the details which Anshul, my friend, is giving out about the micro strategy in each constituency. And if none of you journalists have been able to report that, I think, you must be seriously biased. Because how is it that he's talking about all the details which none of the journalists on the ground are privy to? Fact is, the Congress has lost the habit of winning. Fact is that they live in denial. And fact is that, the imaginary anti-incumbency vote has been talked about since 2007. And on each occasion, barring 2017, what we have witnessed is a strong pro-incumbency vote because the emotional connect which the voters have with Prime Minister Modi. And like I have mentioned before, it's not about one election. People of Gujarat have seen the transformation of their lives. Places like Kevadia, which were, deserted places, are today
tourist hubs.
It has an economy of its own because of the tourist footfall. So all of these changes, Gujarat is one of the earliest states to have 100% coverage of Nal Se Jal program. And this entire thing of Vedant, Foxconn or other businesses choosing Gujarat, this trend started. Let me point out point this out to you. This trend started way back in 2007 when Ratan Tata was harassed by the then Bengal government. He did not find a place, to put up the nano plant, and within weeks, Modi ji worked out that clearance. So I think it is about the work which
Can I
has
come in
happened
very
in the last
quickly?
25 years.
Yeah, Anshul, 30 seconds.
Connect.
No, just to counter my good friend Tuhin, multi-dimensional poverty is 40% in Gujarat. You have the lowest labor wages in anywhere in the country, much below the national average. There are gross inequities. In Morbi was a direct outcome of the collaboration between big business, the corrupt collaboration between big business and the BJP politicians in that state. And nobody's apologized for it.
One by one.
A scam in which ventilators were given to a company that has no history of making ventilators.
Okay, one by one. Both of you have had your say. I want to go across to Radhika for an important aspect. 1 second. Two things I'll say to what Tuhin said. It is a reality that for 27 years, the Congress hasn't been able to convince the electorate in Gujarat that we are an alternative to the BJP. That's just the fact. But it's also true the Congress does have a vote share that does not go away from it. Whether it does this time around with the Aam Aadmi Party remains to be seen. But Radhika, the question I want to ask you is, it almost sounds like the Congress wishes Narendra Modi away. They feel like, this one man has become this kind of an, election-winning machine for the BJP. Instead of dealing with him and his charisma and his success, they almost wish him away. It's wishful thinking. Because that shows up when they say, why does he have to fight and campaign for every election?
Well, I mean, when I returned to Delhi, I saw Modi's posters in the MCD, campaign as well. So if the BJP chooses to use Narendra Modi as its mascot, so be it. As you rightly said, it is really up to the Congress to combat this aspect, and it has failed to do so. It doesn't even have a well-defined state leadership. Perhaps if it projected an effective state leader, then, there may be half a chance of the Congress putting up a good fight. Last time there were, issues unrolled, like, goodies from a cupboard for the Congress. Yeah. It worked up to a point, but then in the penultimate phase, it seemed to have lost traction. And it was contained at 77 seats. From 77 to 92 was just a hop, skip, and jump away. So my limited point is that the Congress does not have the fire in the belly to fight Gujarat. Somehow, my conversations with Congress workers, a couple of Congress candidates, revealed that there was a sense of futility. Yeah. What's the use? Every Gujarati Hindu is gravitating towards the BJP, which, by the way, is not true. The picture is a little different in the rural areas.
And when you have the AAP snapping at your heels, if the Congress feels futile, as you said, to compete, they should have at least competed for their existential survival in Gujarat. We've seen what's happened in Punjab. I have limited time. I want to give 30 seconds to Arun Anand. Arun Anand, the larger question we were also focusing on is whether Narendra Modi magic will be enough, and if that is the defining thing when it comes to overcoming this 27-year anti-incumbency. What do you think?
I think BJP has an edge in these elections, but until and unless the results come out, I don't think we should be basically, taking a final call on it, because Indian electorates, they have been known for bringing out some very, shocking results also. But so far, I think because of the charisma, as I said earlier, that because of these 3-4 factors, that because of a charismatic leader and strong organization and delivery on the ground, I think BJP is an edge. Congress only has to do one thing, has to accept the reality, start working from the grassroots level once again. And I think it is very important for Indian democracy to have broadly a centrist party, as in the opposition also. So if it starts swaying, if it stops swaying towards the ultra left and comes back to the center, I think Congress can make a comeback, a decent comeback in Indian politics.
All right, I'll leave it at that. I do thank all of our guests for joining us. Moving on to the second big issue we're debating, Telangana Chief Minister's daughter, K. Kavita. Her name has been taken even before in the Delhi Excise Policy probe, but it is now more official as the Enforcement Directorate named her in its remand report of accused Amit Arora. The remand copy says that Amit Arora tried to contact 35 people in the last year, and one of them is K. Kavita. Amit Arora has been arrested in connection with the alleged liquor scam of the Aam Aadmi Party Delhi government. The remand copy says Kavita was a key member of a group which paid at least 100 crore rupees in kickbacks to leaders of Delhi's ruling Aam Aadmi Party via Vijay Nair. The TRS MLC hit out at the centre, saying the Modi government is misusing the central agencies against democratically elected governments. First up, take a look at what the remand copy of Amit Arora says. Now, it names Vijay Nair as a close aide of Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal. It also goes on to say that South Group, paid 10 crore rupees in kickbacks to Aam Aadmi Party leaders via this Vijay Nair. K. Kavita was a key member of this South Group, and this South Group is headed by K. Kavita and also Magunta Reddy, Sarath Reddy. Magunta Reddy, remember, is the YRCP MP. He has been raided in this case. He has denied his involvement in this case. And Sarath Chandra Reddy is a Hyderabad-based businessman who's even been arrested by the ED in this case. So the liquor storm, which started in the national capital, has now officially blown up in Telangana as well. Will this hurt KCR and his government and his party? We'll take that to our guests in just a bit.
किसी भी प्रदेश में इलेक्शन होने वाला होता है, वहाँ मोदी से पहले ईडी पहुँच जाता है. तो आज तेलंगाना में भी यही हुआ है, कुछ नया नहीं है.
Not only the liquor scam, every scam should come out. Every scam that KCR's family is involved in, an inquiry has to be commissioned upon. Liquor scam and real estate scam also. There is a land bank that the KCR family holds here.
कोई एजेंसी के कार्रवाई पर यदि किसी को कोई भी आपत्ति हो तो उनके पास कोर्ट का दरवाज़ा खटखटाने का मौका है. कोर्ट के सामने जाकर अपनी मासूमियत के, अपने निर्दोष होने के सारे सबूत पेश करके कोर्ट से क्लीन चिट ले लेनी चाहिए.
Shazia Ilmi of the BJP is joining us. We'll also be joined by Bachchu Srinivas of the TRS. Shazia, you must have seen what Kavita has said today. She's basically said that, you're just in the habit of destabilizing state governments. And that's exactly what you're doing with this liquor probe that is now naming her.
Her name has featured with a great amount of evidence in the ED files, in the report, so to speak. And this is, I think, India's worst kept secret, that their government was involved. Both the governments were involved deeply in this liquor scam. So I think we've known of this for a very, very long time. It's just that now there is a remand copy available. And not just that, you see how Amit Arora, that businessman closely associate, has been arrested. When you see that the mobile phones were changed over multiple times, so about 170 times, and destroyed so that there would not be any evidence. But the fact of the matter is that in this entire trail, all the links clearly connecting the dots between Kavita Ji and Manish Ji are there for everybody to see. So it's the easiest thing to say. What does every politician do when when there's evidence of corruption? Oh, they are trying to destabilize us. If they didn't want to be destabilized, they should not have indulged in corruption. They don't want the agencies to work. Don't they want there to be answerability? Will this country be allowed to be looted? Will we allow that? And all these people will do and cry horses. Oh, it's witch hunt. She cannot do exactly what Manish Sisodia does. She will have to answer as to why her name is there. Where is the trail coming from? Why is there a remand copy? What has happened to, why was the need felt for the other Reddys in the family to change phones? To give, what were the kickbacks given to Nair for? So there's too much to explain. Let her do with some hard questions which should be asked her for. This is the easier thing to say. you say something to me, I'll think of the easiest excuse. Oh, I'm there, so you're attacking me. But the fact is, there are real reasons why her name is there.
Okay, fair enough.
So
Can I take that to Bachchu Srinivas? You know, Shazia is making the point, Mr. Srinivas, and also the remand copy says that these are very serious allegations and specific allegations. One of she being part of the group which paid 100 crore rupee in kickback. Now you could argue that that money trail has to be shown. But K. Kavita's name has been cited by Amit Arora. He made 10 phone calls to her. Kavita changed her phone IMEI 6 times. 36 users involved used 170 devices and destroyed them. Why would anybody do that? And these are very serious allegations. You can't wish them away by just saying, oh, this is political.
First of all, I very good evening to all the CNN viewers, and I'm very happy to participate in the debate. It's very sad to hear such a news regarding our honorable leader, MLC Kavita Garu, because this is whenever the elections comes in the nation, all over the states of India, this regularly, it is a regular thing which is going to be done by the national government. Still, there is a one year period is there in Telangana, and now in the Gujarat elections are going. So, if really she is a victim, she is involved in this case. When they filed the charge sheet, why they didn't involved in that? Only the accused are 7 they declared earlier. Now Mr. B.L. Santosh ji, who is very seriously involved in the case of farmhouse to the 4 MLAs buying case, where there was a very clear information charting Ramachandra Bharati and with other people, the third person of BJP after Mr. Modi and Amit Shah ji. So now they want to blame and claim now the elections are going in Gujarat.
But sir, what does the election in Gujarat have to do with K. Kavita? Surely she is not a factor there. I could even give you that Aam Aadmi Party and what charges they are facing is a factor. But sir, can I just come in? I asked you a very specific question. Sir, let's stay limited to what we're discussing. This is not a charge. In fact, I do remember, I'll take that to Shazia, one of their leaders, I think it was Mr. Sirsa, who had actually named K. Kavita well before the agencies did. And that was when the excise policy scam first came out. And it was obviously not taken very seriously then because the agencies didn't say this. But Mr. Bachchu Srinivas, here the agency has put it in writing.
Yes, I've been
hearing this.
Serious. I've been hearing this, Shivani, for the longest period. Anybody who has anything to do with media or politics knows it's a story that goes around. Anybody who lives in Delhi, anybody who knows anybody knows it's it's like the worst kept secret that how much of truck there was and how this was done, how these two were in cahoots.
No, but Shazia, you're understanding the point that I'm making.
But now
those are rumors or those are things that don't form the back of an investigation.
One second, let me finish saying what I'm saying.
Go ahead.
Delhi excise policy was formulated 21-22 during the worst epidemic faced by the world, including India, which was COVID times. It was done deliberately to make money. It was done to make us do a scam and to loot the people and make major bucks for the private party, for the liquor mafia. Now the evidence is unearthing itself. Earlier, people were just talking about it.
Okay.
Now evidence of destruction of the phones, of the phone links, all that is out for everybody to see. Now the easiest thing to say that ED is doing this, this one is doing that. The fact of the matter is agencies will do their work.
Okay, fair enough.
After all,
Shazia, let me come in here. Let me give one more opportunity to Bachchu Srinivas because that's exactly the point I was making, Mr. Srinivas. You can say a political, charge when, let's say, leaders take each other's name. Here, the agency has now put it in writing. This is much more serious. Now, I can understand if Ms. Kavita says that, I have nothing to do and I will prove my innocence, etc. And I'll fight this case. What does it mean that the BJP is trying to destabilize our governments or elections are going on in Gujarat? That is no defense to the charges.
No, it is very clear. There are elections in December in Telangana state, and they are very worrying about Mr. B.L. Santosh. They planned a story. They are telling that there were witnesses which were destroyed by Kavita. What is this? Now they are telling that there is no evidence, but they are claiming and blaming. How wrong it is. The national government is using ED and CBI, IT and all their own organizations like VHP, Bajrang Dal and other institutions. They are using on all opposition leaders.
Okay,
So
let's
far
not mix issues. Bachchu Srinivas, my only request to you is it's just the two of you. Let's speak on the subject. You are saying that the ED is saying that there is no evidence. I don't think they've said that categorically. What they are though saying is that multiple devices were used and destroyed and there is call data that has come out. Can I ask you a simple question, sir? Can I ask you a simple question? Why was Amit Arora calling Kavita? Now that is established, right, through call records.
No, it is very clear. We are ready to face any kind of investigation by the ED or anybody else from the national government. First, these are the words quoted by our leader. This is one thing. What is the success the ED got in the case of Sanjay Raut in Maharashtra? And what the success rate of ED in the last 8.5 years? It is 3% only. 30,000 cases were filed by the ED and CBI and other in the last 8 years by this government. But
again,
only
I want to ask
840. 2014. Listen. This is only. This is only.
You don't have to. This is not a GK test. A general knowledge test on the conviction rate of ED. This is about Amit Arora, the person arrested by the ED with ample evidence as to and about his phone records and complete links with Kavita ji. 1, 2, as to why Nair, who was getting kickbacks, on whose behalf and at whose behest was the money being paid and how, and also to show and throw light on the liquor gate, the liquor mafia, which is the biggest charge, and it's a matter of great shame. So instead of you talking about this, that, and the other, you explain how can you even defend a leader of yours, no matter who she or he is, who is just making money so brazenly, so shamelessly with the mafia, liquor mafia. It's a matter of shame. And you should hang your head in shame instead of making up all the excuses as to this is what's happening in Nigeria and Papua New Guinea and Gujarat and what have you. Please talk about the subject. Do not. This is it. Doesn't matter what ED is all about, or CBI is all about, or Supreme Court is about, or Vidhan Sabha is about, or Sauda is all about. It's about Kavita, Miss Kavita.
Okay, let him respond. Let him respond. I'll give Mr. Bachchu Srinivas 20 seconds. 20 seconds. Please respond.
Corruption scam, liquor mafia scam, getting huge amounts of money, ill-begotten money, sleaze and scam and corruption.
Okay, let him respond. Shazia, let him respond for 20 seconds. I'm running out of time. 20 seconds to Bachchu Srinivas.
See, there are leaders who have come from the other parties to Bharatiya Janata Party. After raiding ED or CBI or IT, they'll become the chief ministers. They continue as Rajya Sabha members. The cases will not continue.
Okay.
It will not continue. They continue as chief ministers. This is the thing.
Okay, I'll leave it at that. This battle certainly will intensify in days to come as the investigation itself into the Delhi excise policy is definitely becoming much more serious. A big thanks to our guests for joining us. Coming up on the other side, a woman YouTuber from South Korea was molested, harassed by 2 men in Mumbai during her online live stream. We'll get you a conversation with her about her ordeal and more on the other side.
Barreling down the valley into the village below. Within seconds, the entire area was in the grip of a massive snowstorm. Strong winds were witnessed in the valley, causing disruption to normal life. but thankfully there were no reports of damage or casualties. The avalanche occurred after a glacier broke away near a village in the Lahore and Spiti valleys. An avalanche occurs due to the breaking of a thick layer of snow, which then slides down a steep slope. This comes at a time when heavy snowfall is occurring in Himachal Pradesh, which has caused road blockades. Last week, at least 72 roads across the state were blocked due to heavy snowfall, 61 of which were in Lahore and Spiti.
India's GDP growth for the July to September quarter slowed down to 6.3% compared to 8.4% for the same period last year. The GDP growth was dragged down mainly by the poor performance of manufacturing and mining sectors. Despite this, India remains the fastest growing major economy in the world right now. China remains on edge as anger grows against the government's zero-COVID policy.
In the city of Guangzhou, locals clash with police over the country's strict COVID rules. Police in white hazmat suits clutched riot shields to protect themselves from debris and glass thrown at them by protesters. Other videos showed cops swooping down on protesters and dragging them away in handcuffs. The latest unrest follows a wave of unprecedented protests witnessed in China since the weekend. In cities like Shanghai and Beijing, residents took to the streets demanding an end to the strict COVID measures. Some also called for President Xi to step down. China is the only country which continues to have a strict zero-COVID policy. Local authorities clamp down on even small outbreaks with mass testing, quarantines and snap lockdowns.
Former Chinese President Jiang Zemin, who led his country out of isolation after the crushing of pro-democracy protests in Tiananmen Square, has died. He was 96 years old. Jiang suffered from leukemia and multiple organ failure. He saw China through a revival of market-oriented reforms, the return of Hong Kong from British rule in 1997, and Beijing's entry into the World Trade Organization in 2001. Prince Harry's wife, Meghan Markle, was at the center of many threats made against her life, according to the former head of the counterterrorism department in the Metropolitan Police. He also called the threats against Meghan Markle disgusting and very real. The bombshell revelation comes at a time when Harry's estranged brother, Prince William, and his wife, Kate, are headed to the United States, where Harry and Meghan live. Brazilian football legend Pelé has been hospitalized as he battles cancer. According to reports, he developed swelling, heart issues and mental confusion. The 82-year-old had a tumor removed from his colon in September last year, and he has since been in and out of hospital for treatment on a regular basis. The Iranian football team's defeat to the United States in the FIFA World Cup triggered an unusual celebration in the home country.
Iranians dancing on the streets, bursting crackers, honking car horns and celebrating the loss of their national football team in the FIFA World Cup. These scenes of jubilation are actually a show of protest. Iranians denounced the football team's participation in the World Cup at such a tumultuous time in the country. For the last 3 months, protests have been raging across Iran against the death of Mahsa Amini, who was killed in police custody by Iran's notorious morality police for not wearing her hijab in a proper manner. More than 300 people, including children, have been killed in the protests since September this year. In their own version of protest, the Iranian football team refused to sing the national anthem in their opening match. But they went back to singing it in the following matches, leaving citizens to believe that they represent the Iranian regime.
A massive protest outside Punjab Chief Minister Bhagwant Man's home in Sangrur today.
Hundreds of agricultural labourers gathered near the Patiala Bhatinda Road in Sangrur. They were protesting under the flag of Sanjha Mazdoor Morcha. The labourers demanded an increase of minimum daily wages to 700 rupees under Manrega. Raising slogans against the Punjab government, the labourers marched towards the Chief Minister's home. They claimed the CM had refused to meet them, leaving them no choice but to go to him. But when the protesters were a few meters away from Man's home, police swooped down. Police started using force on the labourers and also resorted to lathi charging them. Sangrur's SP was caught on camera hitting the protesters and directing other cops.
Bilkis Bano moved the Supreme Court today, challenging the early release of 11 men convicted of gang raping her and killing her entire family in the 2002 Gujarat riots. In her petition, Bilkis Bano said the decision on releasing the men should be taken by Maharashtra, where the trial took place, instead of the state of Gujarat. The convicts were freed on 15th of August by the Gujarat government. The Enforcement Directorate questioned actor Vijay Deverakonda for 9 hours in connection with the funding of his Bollywood film Liger. The ED is probing possible foreign exchange violations in the production of the movie. The agency suspects illegal investments in the film.
Welcome back. A shocking incident from Mumbai from last night. A South Korean YouTuber was harassed by two men trying to pull her and even kiss her while she was live streaming on her channel. After she walks away, one of the harassers came back on a bike with a friend and tries to offer the woman a lift. Now, Mumbai police have arrested both the accused Mubin Mohammad Sheikh and Naqib Ansari after taking suo motu cognizance of this case when it came to light for them. I spoke to the woman in question. This is what she had to say. What exactly happened and what is the impact it has had on you? What was the emotion like last night?
Actually, I'm a live streamer traveling in India. My job is showing other people about traveling and showing new culture. And 2 days ago, around 11:50 p.m., I was walking towards back to my hotel, and there was a group of guys who were standing there. And as I do always, they say, like most of people, when I'm live streaming, they're very open to engage and have a conversation because I'm holding the camera and I'm filming the environment. And there was one guy shouting me, they're like, "Oh, hey, I love you." And I said, "Oh, yeah. I was just walking towards my hotel and I said, "Oh, yeah, I love you back." And then he started to come to me and put his arm on my shoulder and tried to kiss my cheek for the first time. And I felt very uncomfortable, and I immediately felt that I have to leave this situation. But I didn't want to make a big, because I was alone and it was 11, almost 12 a.m. And he was with his friend. So I tried my best not to escalate the situation and just leave. But he started to grab my arm and drag towards to his motorcycle. And he said that he wanna have a ride. He want a ride. And I said, no, I don't want it. And then he started to put his arm on my shoulder again and try to kiss me. At that point, all I can do is, if I was not alone, and if I would have done something more to shout to them or maybe say aggressively. But since I was alone and it was very dark, and I'm in foreign country, I don't want to get involved in any big issue, or I don't know how this will turn into.
Yes.
I try my best to just leave that situation.
No, I understand completely why you chose to react like that. We're getting to know that the police has arrested both of these individuals who harassed you last night. Are you happy with the way the action has been taken? Did you contact the police? How did that go?
Yes, actually, I got the call last night, 2 a.m. I was sleeping and I feel very sick. They told me that they want to send the female police officer to make the statement, but it was 2 a.m. and I felt sick, so I told them that I will go to police station tomorrow, which is today. And I cannot say that I'm happy or I'm unhappy. I think they should deserve to be arrested. And one thing that I want to point out is this should have done it like this even if I was not foreigner. and even if I was not live streaming as well. I want to believe that this would be the same, even if it happened to other women in India or in other country as well.
Can I ask you, how long have you been in Mumbai or in India? And have you faced similar issues before, or was this the first time?
In India, in Mumbai, I think it's been almost more than 3 weeks. In India, more than 1 month.
Okay.
Actually, I've been faced this kind of incidents before in other country. And every time I face this